Living in the city had always been a dream of mine. The bustling streets, the myriad of people, the ceaseless energy, it all felt like an endless adventure. For the past 15 years, I've called this place home. My name is Sam, and at 52, I've seen a fair share of what life has to offer. I met Jessica on a rainy afternoon in a small coffee shop tucked away in a quiet corner of the city. She was reading a book, her hazel eyes scanning the pages with such intensity that I couldn't help but be drawn to her. We struck up a conversation, and before long, we were inseparable. Jessica was everything I could have asked for in a partner. She was kind, intelligent, and had a sense of humor that could brighten even the gloomiest days. We moved in together after a year of dating, and for the next 14 years, we built a life that seemed almost perfect. Our apartment on the 5th floor of a pre-war building had a view of the city that never ceased to amaze us. We spent countless evenings on the balcony, sipping wine and talking about our dreams and aspirations. It was during these moments that I felt most connected to her, our souls intertwined in a dance of love and companionship. But life in the city wasn't always easy. My job as a financial analyst demanded long hours and frequent travel. Jessica, a successful graphic designer, often found herself swamped with projects. Despite our hectic schedules, we always made time for each other, cherishing the moments we had together. Our intimate life was vibrant and fulfilling. Jessica had a way of making me feel alive, her touch sending shivers down my spine. We explored each other with a passion that never seemed to fade, even as the years went by. I loved her deeply, believing that she felt the same way about me. Yet, beneath the surface, cracks began to form. I started to notice subtle changes in Jessica's behavior. She became more distant, her laughter less frequent, her eyes clouded with something I couldn't quite understand. I tried to brush it off, attributing it to the stress of her work, but a nagging feeling in the back of my mind told me that something was wrong. As the city continued its relentless march, our relationship seemed to falter. The once vibrant connection we shared began to fade, replaced by a growing sense of unease. I found myself longing for the days when we could sit on the balcony, lost in each other's company, without a care in the world. One evening, as I was packing for yet another business trip, Jessica seemed particularly withdrawn. I tried to engage her in conversation, but she responded with monosyllabic answers, barely looking up from her work. Frustration and confusion welled up inside me, but I didn't press her further. I had a flight to catch, and I didn't want to leave on a sour note. "Take care, Jess. I'll be back in a few days," I said, kissing her on the forehead. She nodded absent-mindedly, her mind clearly elsewhere. As I boarded the plane, I couldn't shake the feeling that our relationship was teetering on the edge of something I couldn't control. Little did I know, my worst fears were about to be confirmed in the most devastating way possible. The business trip to Chicago was supposed to be routine. I had a series of meetings lined up with clients, presentations to give, and networking events to attend. But my mind was elsewhere. Thoughts of Jessica and the growing distance between us gnawed at my peace of mind. On the second night of my trip, I attended a networking dinner. The room was filled with industry professionals, all exchanging pleasantries and discussing market trends. I did my best to focus on the conversations, but my mind kept drifting back to Jessica. During a break, I stepped outside to get some fresh air. The cool breeze did little to calm my restless thoughts. I decided to call Jessica, hoping to hear her voice and maybe bridge the gap that had been forming between us. The phone rang several times before she picked up. Her voice was soft, almost hesitant. "Hey, Sam," she said. "Hey, Jess. How's everything at home?" I asked, trying to keep my tone light. "Everything's fine. Just working on a project," she replied. There was a long pause, the silence between us heavy with unspoken words. "I miss you," I finally said. "I miss you too," she responded, but her voice lacked the warmth I was hoping for. As we ended the call, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I went back inside, but the rest of the evening passed in a blur. My colleagues noticed my distraction and asked if everything was all right. I brushed off their concerns, putting on a facade of normalcy. The next morning, I received a message from an old friend, Mark, who lived in Chicago. We hadn't seen each other in years, and he suggested meeting up for coffee. Grateful for the distraction, I agreed. Mark and I reminisced about old times, catching up on each other's lives. As we talked, he mentioned that he had recently reconnected with some mutual friends from back home. He casually asked about Jessica, curious about how she was doing. She's good, I guess. Work's been keeping her busy, I said, trying to sound nonchalant. Mark nodded, but there was a flicker of hesitation in his eyes. He seemed to be debating whether or not to say something. Sam, I don't want to stir up trouble, but I heard some things, he said carefully. My heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? I heard that Jessica has been seen with another guy. I didn't want to believe it, but I thought you should know, Mark said, his expression filled with concern. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. My mind raced, trying to process what he was saying. Jessica? Cheating? It couldn't be true. But deep down, I knew there was a possibility. The changes in her behavior, the distance between us. It all made sense now. Who is he? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Mark hesitated. I don't know much, just that he's someone she works with. I'm really sorry, Sam. I nodded, numb with shock. I thanked Mark for telling me and made my way back to the hotel. My mind was in turmoil, emotions swirling in a chaotic storm. Anger, betrayal, sadness. I felt them all at once. Back in my room, I paced the floor, trying to make sense of it all. How could Jessica do this to me? After all these years, after everything we'd been through together, how could she betray me like this? I decided to confront her, to get to the bottom of it. I couldn't wait until I returned home. I needed answers now. The flight back to New York felt like the longest journey of my life. My mind was consumed with thoughts of Jessica and the betrayal I had just discovered. Every minute seemed to stretch into an eternity as I wrestled with my emotions. When I finally arrived home, it was late evening. The apartment was dimly lit, the city lights casting a soft glow through the windows. Jessica was sitting on the couch, her laptop open on the coffee table. She looked up as I walked in, surprise flickering across her face. Sam, you're back early, she said, her voice tinged with confusion. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I dropped my bag by the door and took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I walked over to the couch and stood in front of her, my heart pounding in my chest. Jessica, we need to talk, I said, my voice firm but trembling. She looked up at me, concern etched on her face. What's wrong? I took another deep breath, gathering my thoughts. I know about the other guy. I know you've been seeing someone else. Her eyes widened, and she opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. The room was filled with a heavy silence, the weight of the truth hanging between us. How could you do this to me, Jess? After all these years, after everything we've been through, how could you betray me like this? I asked, my voice breaking. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she looked away, unable to meet my gaze.
Sam,
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. Her words felt like a dagger to my heart. I had loved her with every fiber of my being, and now she was telling me that our love wasn't enough. Who is he? I demanded, my anger boiling over. His name is Alex. We work together. It started a few months ago, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I felt a surge of rage. Months? She had been lying to me for months. I clenched my fists, trying to control the storm of emotions raging inside me. Why, Jessica? Why did you do it? I asked, desperation creeping into my voice. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. I don't know, Sam. I felt lost. You were always so busy with work, always traveling. I felt alone, and Alex was there. He made me feel wanted, needed. Her words cut deep, but I couldn't deny the truth in them. I had been so focused on my career, on providing for us, that I had neglected the most important thing, our relationship. I thought, we had something special, Jess. I thought we could get through anything together, I said, my voice cracking. We did, Sam. But somewhere along the way, we lost each other, she replied, her voice filled with regret. I couldn't stand to be in the same room as her any longer. The pain was too much to bear. I turned and walked to the bedroom, leaving her alone on the couch. I needed time to process everything, to figure out what to do next. The next few days were a blur of emotions. I felt like I was on an emotional roller coaster, swinging between anger, sadness, and confusion. I couldn't believe that Jessica had betrayed me, that our once perfect relationship had come crashing down. I spent hours walking the streets of New York, trying to clear my mind. The city, which had once felt like a place of endless possibilities, now felt suffocating. Everywhere I looked, I saw reminders of the life Jessica and I had built together. One evening, as I sat in a small bar nursing a drink, an idea began to form in my mind. If Jessica could betray me so easily, why should she get away with it? She needed to feel the pain and humiliation she had caused me. I wanted her to suffer, to regret what she had done. Revenge. The word echoed in my mind, filling me with a sense of purpose. I knew it wouldn't be easy, and I knew it wouldn't bring back what we had lost, but it would give me some measure of satisfaction. I started by gathering information. I hired a private investigator to dig into Jessica's relationship with Alex. I wanted to know everything: where they met, how often they saw each other, and any other details that could help me in my plan. As the days passed, I meticulously crafted my strategy. I would expose Jessica's infidelity to everyone: her friends, her family, her colleagues. I wanted her to feel the same shame and humiliation that I felt. One evening, I received the investigator's report. It was filled with photos, emails, and text messages between Jessica and Alex. The evidence was damning, and it fueled my resolve to go through with my plan. I started by creating a fake social media profile. Posing as a concerned friend, I began sending anonymous messages to Jessica's close friends and family members, sharing the evidence of her affair. The messages were carefully crafted to seem genuine, and I included just enough information to make them believe that they were coming from someone who cared about Jessica. The fallout was immediate. Jessica's friends and family were shocked and disgusted by her actions. They reached out to her, demanding answers. Jessica was overwhelmed by the sudden onslaught of accusations and questions, and she had no idea where they were coming from. I watched from the sidelines as her world began to crumble. The once confident and composed woman I had known was now a shadow of her former self, struggling to keep up appearances as her personal life fell apart. But I wasn't done yet. I had one final card to play. I decided to confront Alex directly. I wanted him to know that I was aware of his involvement with Jessica, and I wanted to make sure that he felt the weight of his actions. I tracked him down to a coffee shop near their workplace. As I walked in, I saw him sitting at a table, engrossed in his phone. I took a deep breath and approached him. "Alex, we need to talk," I said, my voice cold and steady. He looked up, surprise and confusion flickering across his face. "Who are you?" "I'm Sam, Jessica's partner. Or should I say, ex-partner," I replied, my anger simmering just below the surface. He paled, realization dawning on him. "Look, Sam, I didn't mean for any of this to happen." I cut him off. "Save it. I don't care about your excuses. I just want you to know that your little affair with Jessica is over. I've made sure of it." He swallowed hard, fear evident in his eyes. "What did you do?" "I exposed everything. Everyone knows about you two now. Your reputations, your careers, they're both on the line." "I hope it was worth it," I said, my voice laced with bitterness. I turned and walked out of the coffee shop, leaving Alex to grapple with the consequences of his actions. It wasn't the most mature way to handle things, but it gave me a sense of closure, a feeling that I had taken back some control over my life. With my plan of revenge executed, I felt a strange sense of relief. It didn't erase the pain or the betrayal, but it gave me a sense of justice, however flawed it might be. Jessica and Alex had to face the consequences of their actions, and that was enough for me. I knew that clinging to anger and resentment would only hinder my healing process, so I made a conscious effort to move on with my life. I threw myself into my work, taking on new projects and responsibilities that kept me busy and focused. I also started reconnecting with old friends, people I had lost touch with over the years. It was a welcome distraction, and their support and companionship helped me through the darkest days. I realized that I had been so wrapped up in my relationship with Jessica that I had neglected other important aspects of my life. One weekend, I decided to take a trip to the countryside. I needed to get away from the city, to clear my mind and find some peace. I rented a small cabin by a lake, surrounded by nature. The tranquility of the place was a stark contrast to the chaos of the city and my tumultuous emotions. As I sat by the lake, watching the sun set over the water, I began to reflect on my life. I thought about the years I had spent with Jessica, the good times and the bad. I realized that despite the betrayal, there had been moments of genuine happiness and love. Those memories were bittersweet, but they were a part of my life, and I couldn't deny their significance. I also thought about the future, about what I wanted for myself. I knew that I couldn't let the past define me or dictate my happiness. I had to find a way to move forward, to build a new life for myself. During my time in the countryside, I found solace in nature. I went hiking, explored the surrounding forests, and spent hours just sitting by the lake, lost in thought. It was a time of healing, a chance to reconnect with myself and rediscover what truly mattered. When I returned to the city, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I was determined to create a life that was fulfilling and meaningful, one that wasn't defined by past betrayals. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was ready to face the challenges head-on. I decided to pursue a passion that I had long neglected: photography. I had always loved capturing moments and telling stories through images, but I had let it fall by the wayside over the years. Now, it felt like the perfect time to rekindle that passion. I bought a new camera and started exploring the city through a different lens. I captured the vibrant street life, the hidden corners, and the fleeting moments that made New York so unique. It was a therapeutic process, and it allowed me to see the city in a new light. I also started volunteering at a local community center, teaching photography classes to kids. It was incredibly rewarding to share my passion with others and to see the joy and creativity that it sparked in them. It reminded me that there was still goodness and beauty in the world, even amidst the pain and betrayal. Months passed, and I slowly began to rebuild my life. I focused on my photography, both as a hobby and a potential new career path. I found joy in capturing the world around me, in telling stories through my lens. It was a creative outlet that allowed me to express myself and find a sense of purpose. Through my volunteer work at the community center, I met a woman named Emma. She was a teacher, passionate about helping kids and making a difference in their lives. We struck up a friendship, bonding over our shared interests and values. Emma was kind, compassionate, and had a warmth that drew people to her. She had a way of making me feel at ease, and I found myself looking forward to our conversations. As we spent more time together, our friendship deepened, and I began to feel something I hadn't felt in a long time: hope. One evening, after a particularly fulfilling day at the community center, we decided to grab dinner together. We found a cozy little restaurant and settled into a corner booth, the soft glow of candlelight casting a warm ambience. As we talked, I felt a connection with Emma that was different from anything I had experienced before. There was an openness and honesty between us, a sense of mutual respect and understanding. "Sam, I've really enjoyed getting to know you these past few months," Emma said, her eyes meeting mine. "I feel like we have a lot in common, and I value our friendship." "I feel the same way, Emma. You've been a great friend, and I appreciate your kindness and support," I replied, feeling a warmth in my chest. There was a moment of silence, a comfortable pause that spoke volumes. I realized that I was ready to open my heart again, to take a chance on love and happiness. "Emma, I know we've both been through a lot, but I think there's something special here. I'd like to see where this goes, if you're open to it," I said, my heart pounding with nervous anticipation. A smile spread across her face, and she reached out to take my hand. "I'd like that too, Sam. Let's see where this journey takes us." With that, we embarked on a new chapter in our lives, one filled with hope, possibility, and the promise of new beginnings. It wasn't always easy, and there were still moments of doubt and fear, but together, we faced the challenges with courage and resilience. As Emma and I continued to build our relationship, I felt a sense of peace and contentment that had been missing from my life for so long. We supported each other through the ups and downs, finding strength in our connection and shared values. We spent our weekends exploring the city, discovering new places, and creating memories. We took spontaneous trips to the countryside, relishing the tranquility and beauty of nature. It was a time of healing and growth, both individually and as a couple. I continued to pursue my passion for photography, and with Emma's encouragement, I started showcasing my work at local galleries. It was a dream come true, and the positive reception from the community boosted my confidence and inspired me to keep pushing forward. Our volunteer work at the community center remained a significant part of our lives. We found fulfillment in helping others, in making a positive impact on the lives of the kids we taught. It brought us closer together and reinforced our commitment to living meaningful and purposeful lives. As the months turned into years, our relationship deepened. We faced challenges and obstacles, but we faced them together, always supporting and uplifting each other. The wounds of the past began to heal, replaced by the strength and resilience we found in each other. One evening, as we sat on the balcony of our apartment, watching the city lights twinkle in the distance, I turned to Emma and took her hand. "Emma, these past few years have been incredible. You've brought so much joy and love into my life, and I can't imagine my future without you," I said, my voice filled with emotion. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she squeezed my hand. "Sam, you've shown me what it means to truly love and be loved. I'm grateful for every moment we've shared." With a deep breath, I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. I opened it to reveal a beautiful ring, the symbol of my commitment and love. "Emma, will you marry me?" I asked, my heart pounding with anticipation. Her eyes sparkled with tears of joy, and she nodded, a radiant smile spreading across her face. "Yes, Sam, I will marry you." As we embraced, I felt a sense of completeness and fulfillment. We had both come a long way, overcoming the pain and betrayal of the past to find love and happiness once again. Our journey was far from over, but together, we were ready to face whatever the future held. Our wedding was a beautiful and intimate celebration, surrounded by close friends and family. It was a day filled with love, laughter, and joy, a testament to the strength of our bond and the journey we had taken to get here. As we exchanged vows, I couldn't help but reflect on the path that had led me to this moment. The pain of Jessica's betrayal, the anger and sadness, the journey of healing and self-discovery. It had all brought me to this point, standing beside the woman I loved, ready to build a future together. Emma and I continued to support each other in our careers and passions. She encouraged me to pursue my photography full-time, and I supported her in her work at the community center. We found a balance that allowed us to grow individually and as a couple. Our love for each other deepened with each passing day. We faced challenges and obstacles, but we faced them together, always communicating openly and honestly. Our home was filled with laughter, warmth, and a sense of belonging. We also continued to give back to the community, finding fulfillment in helping others and making a positive impact. It was a core part of who we were, and it brought us closer together, reinforcing our shared values and commitment to living meaningful lives. Through it all, I never forgot the pain and betrayal of the past, but I no longer let it define me. Instead, I chose to focus on the love and happiness that I had found with Emma. Our journey had been filled with twists and turns, but it had led us to a place of peace and fulfillment. As I stood on the balcony of our apartment, watching the city lights twinkle in the distance, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. Life had not been easy, but it had brought me to this moment, surrounded by love and happiness. I turned to Emma. "Thank you for everything, Emma. You've given me a new lease on life, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us." She smiled back, her eyes filled with love and warmth. "We're in this together, Sam. Always." As we stood there, the city bustling around us, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, with love, resilience, and unwavering support. Our journey was far from over, but I was ready for whatever came next, knowing that I had found my true partner in life.